Hello, hello. This is like just a little impromptu live, so I didn't even tell anybody about this. But I was about to make a video, and I thought this needed a little bit more explanation than what had given before in my last live last Thursday. So tomorrow I have another one on the 27th of July, but the question was about a couple of stitches in my morning trail shawl. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about that shawl and also demonstrate the stitches and kind of explain, at least a little bit of explanation. So here is my morning trail, and I just wanted to make sure that I'm not holding it up inside out. So here it is in two colors. It also looks nice in one color, by the way, and I have a sample knit up in one color. So I had a question about a couple of stitches in here, and they were the S2K2 together and then SK2PTBL. So when I designed the shawl, and for a few of my shawls long, long ago, when Japanese stitch dictionaries were first kind of starting to be available in the US, I totally went crazy for them, just like lots of other people. So luckily for me, I lived near a Japanese bookstore, and I was able to pick some up in person. And then I started ordering them actually from Asia. So I had this huge library of dictionaries and the stitches. I obviously didn't understand how to read like descriptions. So I would end up just kind of reverse engineering them to get them to look like what it looked like in the picture and writing out my own instructions. So that's kind of one of the reasons that I want to go back and sort of change update a lot of my patterns. So a lot of you know that I am kind of bit by bit taking down some of my patterns and updating them. So that's one of the reasons, because now they are translated and the stitches probably have actual names. But at this point in time, this is a while ago, and so I was just kind of like, okay, this looks like what the stitch is. So I gave them names. So so let me show you the stitches that we're talking about here. There were mostly two twist stitches in the pattern in my morning trail shawl, which was a mystery shawl. So let me transition over here. Okay, so in this little motif here, this is a twisted stitch. There are twisted stitches all along this area. And in order to keep that twisted stitch line, I reverse engineered stitches so that they would look right in the motif. And I take a lot of these stitches and edit them. So not only am I kind of trying to make these look twisted and look like they do in the pictures in the Japanese books, but I also have edited them as well. And I can get a little picky. So if you didn't do these the way I'm going to show you, or if you've had problems with these, this is one of those instances where it's not going to change the entire way that the shawl has come out. So there's no reason to like rip back or anything and make these different. So I had actually identified an error in one of my stitch abbreviations in here, which was the SK2 purl through the back loop. So this first stitch here is slipped purlwise through the back loop and not knitwise. And I do have a note to that effect, I believe, in the Ravelry thread about it, but it has not yet been updated in the pattern because it was more recent that I realized that there was an error in this definition. So if you did it actually knitwise, it's not a big deal. It's not going to change the look of the motif significantly, so don't worry. So let's take a look at this first. This is the S2 K2 together, and it's a right leaning twisted decrease. Okay, so I'm going to slip the first stitch purlwise through the back loop. So I'm coming in here purlwise through the back loop, and see how that twists that top stitch there. So once that is done, I'm sorry, the first one is not through the back loop. The first one is purlwise and then purlwise through the back loop. Okay, so now you can see how it's twisted up here. That first one was just switched, done purlwise, and this is purlwise through the back loop. And so now these are just going to be placed back on the left needle, and now they can be knit together. So knit two together, and you can see at the base here that twists your stitch. So it twists the other way. To have the other one that knit two together through the back loop is the left leaning twisted decrease, and that's much easier because all you have to do is knit those two together through the back loop. So it's the right leaning one is a little bit more tricky. So that gives you the twisted stitch on top there. Okay, so that's the first one. And now this one is the SK2PTBL. So I am going to slip a stitch purlwise through the back loop right here. I'm going to slip a stitch purlwise. So I did this through the back loop, purlwise, and then purlwise through the back loop. So you can see I have two stitches that are twisted here, and then that middle one is not twisted. So once I have done that, I'm going to replace two stitches back on my left needle. So the idea here is just like with that other decrease that I showed you first, my needle is going to go through this twisted stitch first. So it's going to look twisted. So you can see where that's twisted there. And now this other twisted stitch here is going to be passed over the top. So this is a double decrease that has two twisted stitches coming into it from the side. And I will show you what that looks like in the pattern. So you can see up here, this is all a line of twisted stitches coming from both sides and up to the top here. So both of these leading in here, those are both twisted stitches. So again, my apologies about that error in the abbreviation. That is on my list to be fixed as I'm going through everything. I hope that it didn't cause anybody undue stress. And as I was saying before also, if you did not slip that one, if you slipped it knitwise and not purlwise, it's okay. It's not going to significantly change the way that your project works. So hopefully that has helped. And I hope that's answered the question. I just thought we needed like just a little extra information there as to why that was there and why you probably can't find that stitch by looking it up. And that is because that was before Gail Rome started to take all the Japanese stitch dictionaries and translate them into English. So, yeah, one of the reasons I'm going back through my patterns just to make sure everything is perfect for you all and that it's easier, more standardized, more easier for you to do all the stitches. Anyway, I will see you soon for my next live. And that is going to be on Friday, the 27th of July. And I definitely wasn't expecting anybody to join me, but it looks like there's some wonderful people here who have. That makes I love you guys so much. You are so completely awesome. So thank you for stopping by to say hello, and I hope to see you very soon tomorrow. You guys are just the absolute best. So have a wonderful evening, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.